The Lost Key. Once upon a time, in a small village, there lived a young boy named Jake. He was a curious and adventurous child. One sunny day, Jake decided to explore the nearby forest. He grabbed his backpack and set off on his little adventure. As Jake wandered deeper into the forest, he noticed a sparkling object on the ground. It was a key. Jake picked it up, thinking it must belong to someone who had lost it. Determined to find its owner, he started asking the villagers if they knew anything about the key. First, Jake went to Mrs. Johnson's house. She was a friendly old lady who lived alone. Jake knocked on her door and asked, "Excuse me, Mrs. Johnson, have you lost a key?" Mrs. Johnson smiled and replied, "No, dear, I haven't lost any keys, but I remember Mr. Wilson mentioning that he lost one. You should go and ask him." Following Mrs. Johnson's advice, Jake hurried to Mr. Wilson's house. Mr. Wilson was a retired carpenter who loved working on wooden crafts. Jake found him in his backyard, sanding a beautiful wooden chair. "Hello, Mr. Wilson. Have you lost a key?" Jake asked, holding up the key he had found. Mr. Wilson paused for a moment and said, "No, Jake, I haven't lost any keys, but I think I overheard Mrs. Thompson talking about losing one. You might want to check with her." Jake thanked Mr. Wilson and headed to Mrs. Thompson's house. She was a teacher at the village school and was known for her love of books. Jake found her in her study, surrounded by shelves filled with books. "Good afternoon, Mrs. Thompson. I found this key and wondered if it belongs to you," Jake said eagerly. Mrs. Thompson looked surprised and replied, "Oh no, Jake, it's not mine. However, I remember little Tommy mentioning he lost a key last week. Maybe it's his." Jake felt determined to find the key's owner, so he went to Tommy's house next. Tommy was a mischievous little boy, always getting into playful adventures. Jake found him in his backyard, playing catch with his dog. "Hi, Tommy. I found a key. Is it yours?" Jake asked, holding out the key for Tommy to see. Tommy's eyes lit up and he exclaimed, "Yes, that's my key. I've been looking for it everywhere. Thank you, Jake." With a big smile on his face, Jake was delighted to have found the key's rightful owner. Tommy thanked him and invited him to join the game. They spent the rest of the day playing together and became good friends. From that day forward, the village knew Jake as the helpful and kind boy who found Tommy's lost key. Jake learned that being curious and persistent could lead to unexpected friendships and adventures.